Welcome back, everybody. So for today's training, I decided to hit some legs. Went pretty well. Was in the gym about 2 hours. Talked to a good buddy of mine, another friend of mine. And you guys know I do these videos because I like to talk about life. It's not just about my health journey. It's not about conquering back surgeries. It's not just about business, but I like to talk about life. And I'll do a voiceover over all the exercises I did today. This thing is shaking, so let me hold it. It's on a monopod, so they shake. But nevertheless, today's conversation, we talked about 30 minutes in between sets, of course. We wasn't BSing. No, people they don't like it when you BS in the gym. I don't like it either. But nevertheless, we were talking about just different stages of life, basically. Backgrounds, what people do as far as men. We even got into the topic of, you know, personal success and business success. And the topic was, or multiple topics within one. Um, we talked about how the decisions you make of how you carry yourself or present yourself determine how successful you'll be with people or how people will view you. We live in an age now where, everyone is on the extreme of whether it's political or whatever their thoughts or whatever their beliefs are, because we're hyper we're hyper how do I want to put this? We're very, very extreme and hyper based on our background, our socioeconomic upbringing, and just the people we're around in general, and the stuff that we put in our mind. I guess that's the best way to put it. Coming up, I grew up is no it's no mystery. I grew up in the hood, Oak Cliff, Pleasant Grove, Dallas, Texas. Um, Went to college in Baltimore, so it didn't really get any better. But my life was filled with always having to be aggressive, appear aggressive, act aggressive, frown. One of my buddies, when we first got to college as freshmen, he said, "Man, when we saw y'all Dallas guys, because several of us came from the great eighth grade at Spruce High School to go to a small college in Maryland. Nevertheless, in Baltimore, Maryland, nevertheless, one of our football buddies was like, man, you guys got off the plane and y'all had this expression, just a frown, just a mean demeanor, like these guys are tough. And, a lot of that is just coming from an impoverished background, not really experiencing life. Also, the influences that we had growing up was television, movies, gangster rap music. Yeah, I know people want to blame rap for stuff, but it is bad for the most part, most of it, i.e., gangster rap. But nevertheless, we were influenced and we wanted to live up these to this image because the reality is we really didn't want to be taken advantage of. We didn't want to be weak. You'll hear people say terms like these people are food. We didn't want to be food to those that were aggressive. We wanted to be the aggressor so we were not taken advantage of, mistreated. And a lot of that stuff carries into adulthood. People look at me, I got all these tattoos. I'm in the process of moving the majority of them. You guys should see this one over here. It's blistered up so bad from Friday's tattoo removal work. I mean, it's disgusting. It's a lot of pain as well. But, you know, when you really, really go inside yourself and you become a man and you experience different places, living in Maryland, living in Indiana, Arizona, Montana, moving back to the great state of Texas, being around people that are more affluent than I was, leaving the background that I was from, you realize that the world is not what we see or what we grow up with. The example can be if you grew up extremely wealthy, you may have never been around an impoverished person, a ghetto person like myself growing up. You may think that the world is a certain way, and you may have a rude awakening in the world. The world is this hodgepodge of different personalities, different upbringings, different everything. Let me see if I can lift this up. Yeah, it's better. Uh, just different. We're not all the same. We all truly live different lives, and we all grow. we look at people, we may say they're stupid. Like, I don't know whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Me, I lean more towards the right. I do have some liberal beliefs, as I was discussing with my friend in the gym. Like, we don't agree with everything our party says, and you shouldn't agree with everything your party says. But based on how you grew up and what you were taught and told and what you've seen in the world, you may only know one way. I used to blame everybody for my circumstance. Why did I have to grow up? Like, why? Well, the reason I grew up the way I grew up is because my parents made the decisions that put us where we were. That would be me and my sister and myself. It had nothing to do with someone else putting us in those positions. And this is so crazy. Even though I was impoverished, my dad was an alcoholic. He would talk to the richest people ever. Like University Park, I still dream of living in University Park, that area, because we used to cut those people's yards. Dr. Camp. I remember cutting a doctor's yard. We had a lawn business. I was cutting yards since 7. My dad could talk to all these people, and I would always wonder why you could get business and work with these people. Someone's alarm is going off. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody's alarm was going off. But, nevertheless, you realize that the way you grew up can have a drastic effect on your life. It can have a huge effect on your mental well-being and just your success. But if you put yourself in different positions, I don't know what made me want to go into finance, but just going into finance, seeing how different people operate, being around money, it changed my whole worldview. So if you're a person, you know and you're at a stage in your life, maybe you're older, I'm 43, maybe you're younger, and you're realizing there's more out there for you, understand that the world is not what you quite think it is, and your background may limit you. So go out and explore. Be open minded. Because another thing, when we're so close minded, we miss out on a lot of opportunity. So, nevertheless, I hope this finds you well. Like I said, I'm going to do a voiceover over today's training. It was pretty good. Got some legs. Try to hit depth on everything. Still not that strong yet. You guys know I'm cutting weight. Man, I'm down like another 6 pounds. I'm getting close to that 260s range. On our road to 240, then we're getting this skin cut off. But I really hope this helps somebody. I made this channel not trying to go viral or anything like that, not trying to be your proverbial YouTuber, but I always wanted to document my life and what I've seen and what I've gone through and the changes that have transpired throughout. You guys have a great day. Make sure you hit the gym. That's another thing. Being in the gym, training, any type of physical fitness, walking, getting your mind right will change your life. If you have a vice, whether it's alcohol, drugs, every time you got that demon, you want to touch that demon, I would strongly suggest hitting the gym. Find a group of people that are also into what you do. That's another last topic. We talked about being a one man army. Actually, I brought it up. Success leaves clues, and nobody that's ever been successful was a one man show. All right, guys, enjoy the video. Feel free to leave a comment. All right, so the first thing I did was hit the pendulum squat. Did about 5 sets. I think on this I made it all the way up to, I guess you could say, 645s and 2 quarters, quarter on each side, 345s on each side. Just working on trying to keep the depth while I'm hitting this exercise. I tend to use like the belted squat a lot, or since I have a bad shoulder, you might see me using a yoke bar. But legs are actually getting much stronger. All right, next we went over to the leg press. This is just finishing up. I ended with, I think, 7 plates on each side. First sets, I didn't want to post the lower sets, but the depth was a little bit better. So the goal is to continue to work on depth because, as you guys know, that is the important when you're training. It's really trying to get that full muscular stretch or stretching the muscle as far as possible. Next, made it to the hack squat. This one just went up to 445s and quad on each side. So 245s on each side and a quad on each side. Still, again, as you can see, I'm focusing on the depth. And then I always have to hit back. You guys will notice after every training day, I'm going to always hit the back. Now, I did hit some leg extensions and some other stuff I did not post on here because I didn't figure it was relevant. But nevertheless, I always like to work on that back because I had all those back surgery. So in my mind, I'm always saying strengthen the back. So I hit a couple of back exercises trying to hit that again full stretch. As you can see, made it on this one just with again 245s and a quart on each side, still focusing on the stretch. You know, again, I can throw some weight on there, throw on some wraps, and look strong, but at the end of the day, I'll just be jerking the weights around. And you guys know I'm trying to improve this physique. You see that stomach is going down before I get this skin cut off. And again, hit a little more back. Just wanted to isolate, the rear delt. So I went ahead and hit the tables. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All in all, it was a good training section. Like I said, I got to talk to my boy for a little bit. A couple other people in the gym, just, talking about life, business, and stuff like that. And just moving forward. All right, hope you guys have a good one. Let me know if you have any questions.